time for our review of The Rental, which I know Adam did not get a chance to watch, but Matt
did not.
So you're just going to have to believe everything we say about it and assume
I do.
the truth.
No, you already do what you've been doing and disagree with everything that we've been saying.
I haven't been doing that. Nemo, we're together on this.
We loved this movie.
So yeah, we'll go around. Base thoughts, Connor. You loved it.
Loved it. I was engaged the whole time. And that's weird because it is such a slow burn movie. Nothing really happens until the final act, the final 20-30 minutes. Things happen, but it's not straight up in your face. It's small things, and then the final 30 minutes, it's real quick. But everything else is just building up to it. And I thought the character interactions between all of the characters and the actors, I thought they all had great chemistry, and I thought the interactions were believable and engaging enough to where I was glued to the screen. I didn't look at my phone once.
Mm-hmm.
I was so glued to this movie and so engaged in it that I couldn't stop looking at it. And I thought the cinematography was great. I thought the acting was great. I liked the pacing. Sometimes slow burn horror movies can get lost in that slow burn pace where you're just I don't give a shit anymore. But this one was very well paced to where, it still added intrigue and that slow burn buildup that it was worth it in the end game. So I loved it.
What'd you think of The Rental?
Oh, let Matt go first. He's a guest.
Oh, okay. Guess first. And I'm interested to hear what Matt has to say because he texted me, my goodness, but he wouldn't expand on whether that was a bad my goodness or a good my goodness. What kind of my goodness was it?
Connor, I couldn't be further away from your opinion about the movie. Let me say that I thought the directing and acting were fine. They weren't great. It wasn't bad. They were all capable of doing their jobs. However, I thought the pacing was awful. I thought the character interactions were unbelievable. I thought they were especially the theme of race, which is brought up in the first half of the movie, just falls by the wayside. And it was very tone deaf of white guys because I looked it up to make sure who wrote the movie. It was two white guys.
Dave Franco.
To just use race as a tool sometimes because the brother, I'm sorry, I don't know all their names. So the successful brother is low-key racist or at least accepting of this whitewashed world. And somehow the other girl that is a minority is attracted to him despite displaying for the rest of the movie. She has no tolerance for even micro transgressions against her. So I kind of was just I don't get why this was a theme in the movie. And it really made me kind of be ugh. And then at the end, I just felt breakneck speed stuff happening that I just was never cared or explained. And we didn't get confrontations that I wanted the whole time. They cheated and we never really get either one of those conversations. They both just sort of reveal and then dead, reveal and then dead. And I was we've been building this the whole time and it never delivered.
Yeah, by the time it's payoff time, it's not do what the mask is coming for you.
Yeah.
And then even he's superhuman, he gets hit in the face and just pulls it out, but then they reveal he's just a regular dude. And I was how did that happen?
It went through the mask. I don't think it really hit him.
Oh, you don't think?
It's possible.
I think it did hit him.
I have no idea.
He reacted.
They don't show his face.
He reacted when it got hit, and when it hit him in the face. He reacted when that happened.
I think he was just a hard ass.
Yeah,
just a tough guy. I guess.
Do you think that was played by Dave Franco? Because they never show his face, but I think it was Dave Franco.
So when he was pulling the mask off, I went, it's going to be Dave Franco.
No, it wasn't.
But they never showed it.
No
I think it was Dave Franco.
It did look like him from behind.
Yes. Yeah, it did.
Yeah. Now that you say it, I didn't think it on my own. I'm just hopping on the bandwagon.
The same hair. They never showed his face. and I feel like they didn't do that because if they showed Dave Franco's face, you'd be like, oh, that's Dave Franco. Take you out of the movie.
You know, it'd been really scary if it was James Franco.
Just reading poetry.
Doing poor adaptations of classic novels.
Yeah.
Shut
What did you think? What did you think of The Rental?
I thought it was. I didn't think it was that bad. I thought it was a fresher idea of somebody coming in and renting Airbnbs and bugging them and, you know, watching the next people come in and then taking over and killing those people. I thought there was like a newer idea that I don't think I have seen in horror movies. I wouldn't categorize it as a horror movie because I didn't think it was like scary. I didn't think I think it was like the last 20 minutes of it is when it was kind of like a slasher film, but it was the most low-key slasher 20 minutes that I've ever seen. And I don't know. I wouldn't say it was a horror film. It wasn't that scary to me. It was very slow paced, but it was interesting to me. But I do agree a lot with what Matt said. There was a lot of built up in certain conversations that we didn't get satisfaction with. Like when she fell, I was like, what the fuck? I was just like, what the hell?
I actually kind of loved that.
I was like, wow, okay.
I kind of loved. Somebody needed to fall off the cliff after if they threw Taylor, which by the way, I really don't appreciate for the first time ever. I'm watching a movie and a dude's name is Taylor, and it's some like quasi racist. I mean, he wasn't a murderer in the end, so that's cool. But I would like something more to aspire to than he wasn't a murderer. Come on, I'm trying to see more male Taylors in cinema. Come on, let's make it happen.
But
This guy wasn't it.
But no, the character interactions I didn't think was believable. I so badly wanted them to get caught cheating. Like I so badly wanted it to happen. But I had expected the movie to go one way and it had went. I didn't expect it to be the way that it had ended up being. So that's why I enjoyed it, because usually I can kind of predict what's going to happen next, especially when it comes to horror films. But this one I didn't really see it coming. But I mean, I thought it was entertaining enough. I thought it was good. I thought it was a good idea. I thought it was a good take on it, especially for Dave Franco's first horror film.
Any movie.
Yeah, first any movie, especially a take on horror film that can be pretty difficult to do. I thought it was pretty good for him.
Here's my thing with the whole like the cheating subplot. It's not the main story, and the thing is when they're about to get caught is when the tone shifts. It shifts from this relationship drama to this stalking like horror, like the stalking serial killer horror movie. So at that plot point, it shifts in genre pretty much, and I feel like that is like signifying like the idea of cheating, even, or the idea of getting caught cheating, especially when the two people are brothers, is scary enough, and that horror shifts into actual horror. It shifts into the serial killer stalking you and pretty much end up killing everyone.
Mm-hmm.
I was fine with that confrontation not happening because they confronted an actual evil. They confronted an actual serial killer. They were able to confront their own mistakes and ended up dying.
It's just the fact that they took so long, them focusing it on the affair instead of it focusing on the serial killer terrorizing them. So if they're going to focus so much time on a certain event that's occurring inside the movie, then why not have that confrontation and have that satisfaction for the people that are actually viewing it. But if you're trying to focus the film specifically on the serial killer terrorizing people as a horror film, then put more focus on that on the film. That's my point.
I would agree with Connor if the characters were at all likable. The problem is everyone in the movie is unlikable. So by the time we get to the guy coming to kill them, I'm like, yeah, fuck it. They deserve it. Like, who cares?
I didn't like the two that cheated. I liked the wife. I thought she was fine.
He lost his dog, and she's just high on Molly, giving 0 fucks, and I was so annoyed by that.
That was funny. She's like, "Oh, they lost the dog." I was like, "All right, you dumb bitch."
But it made me dislike her. I was like, I don't like her anymore.
Very spiteful.
Brother with the dog. I liked it. In my opinion, he did nothing wrong. I felt bad for him.
He murders a man almost.
He's a
bad guy.
So from what he saw, that guy was attacking his girlfriend, who he didn't know was cheating on him.
Pretty sure we've all almost murdered someone.
I was gonna say, if your reaction to that scene is "I'm gonna nearly murder a man," you're a bad guy. There's 1,000 other options.
Probably would have murdered him if his friends didn't stop him from doing it.
But he was already convicted of a similar assault earlier in his life.
But that wasn't totally out of character because it was established.
No, I agree it's in his character, but that makes him a bad person and not someone I'm rooting for.
Right. He's now a dick, as established.
Yeah.
He lost his dog. He's in a very traumatic His girlfriend lost his dog, and before he left, he specifically said, "Please let him in. Keep an eye on him. Let him in."
And now you got Taylor in the bathroom manhandling your girlfriend.
Yeah.
And he would have saved their life.
He was one of the only likable characters. And I'm not saying that they have to be likable in order to be engaging. I can engage with a horrible character, a character very unlikable. I can still engage with them. I can be like, I don't like this character because they're doing bad things. At least if they spark a reaction out of me, that's a good character.
I guess it's a character doesn't have to be somebody you want to be friends with, but as long as you buy their character,
I would say normally, yeah, but in a horror movie where like there's someone else murdering, there has to be some balance of, because you already have evil, so where's the good?
Right. You need to have some sort of investment in the people.
Yeah,
not getting murdered.
So I wasn't like they should be murdered. They deserve to be murdered. But the fact that they are being murdered doesn't bother me at this point. And that's all I wanted. It was like
bother me either.
For someone to show compassion. Like if they had confessed that they had cheated, even then you can root for them because you can say it took them a while, but they ultimately make the right decision. But they don't even get that. It's taken away from them, and they're just left to kind of be like, "Yep, I did it."
Yeah.
And then you die. So, and then I'm dying. So,
and
you say GG.
GG no re.
The transition from kind of character drama or like romance friend drama to this is now a slasher movie really goes like night and day. It's like flip the switch. This is what the movie is that we're watching now. And I was excited when we got to it because obviously that was kind of the promise of the marketing of the movie of this is a like home invasion thriller about friends trapped remotely and are being pursued by a killer.
It's a good twist. Like when you think it's Taylor, and then the reveal is like, no, there's something actually wrong here.
Yeah.
That part was really well done. And I was like, okay, I'm invested to see what happens, but then it just rushes through what I thought was a really interesting dynamic.
Scares in this though when he's bolting at the door, the car door, like that struck me. And when she's trying to make her way down the deck and you just see him come in the frame and grab her, like there's some effective scares in this movie.
Did you guys know right away he was wearing a mask? Because I didn't realize it first.
I thought he was just a deformed, ugly motherfucker.
Yeah, that's what I said. I was like, Taylor, did you see his fucking face?
Yeah, I was like, this dude looks a little spooky, huh?
Yeah.
I thought it was Michael Myers. Like I thought it just looked like a knockoff Michael Myers in the background.
It reminded me a lot of the
guy who owned it.
It reminded me a lot of Drive when Ryan Gosling wears that weird guy's mask.
Okay, yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, it reminded me a lot of that. I would say I liked the movie. I agree. I think probably the biggest issues come from the script, which I don't try to criticize scripts too much because I didn't read the script for this. But seeing as it was written by Dave Franco and directed by Dave Franco, I got a feeling there's probably not a lot of discrepancies between the page and the film. I think he did a fine job directing it. I think it looks really nice. I think it's well made, but the narrative content of it is where I kind of struggle. Because again, like you guys kind of touched on all the facets of it. I didn't really like any of the characters. I bought that those characters. I believed in the characters as all genuinely bad people. They sold me that they all kind of sucked, and I was like, wow, this just feels like a miserable. I would hate to be hanging out with these guys for a weekend. This seems awful. So just so hostile and spiteful. You can't trust your best friend. You can't trust your wife or your husband or your brother. Like they're just all got secrets that they're hiding.
I don't want to cut you off, but I think that's where some of the tension comes in, like where it's believable is because the last thing they're thinking about is all this weird stuff that's happening. They're all focused on, okay, there's the camera. Like at one moment they're focused on the camera in the shower head. But then like the thought of being caught in this scandal takes over, and they're not worried about this, this
weirdo in the woods
background, this threat in the background, this door underneath the deck. They're not worried about any of that. They're just worried about their own mistakes. That when the actual threat pops up, that's like all hell breaks loose. And I personally think that was well done.
Well, I think because they don't know any better.
Yeah, exactly.
For me, it was just when it finally got to like we're in horror movie mode. I kind of wanted more of it. It happened so abruptly.
I will admit that when it ended, I was like, I want more, especially when it was showing that he moved on to another like Airbnb type thing. And
yeah, I was weirded out because everybody was dead, and I was like, this movie's not ending. What's going on here?
Yeah.
But
I thought we were gonna see who it was. We never did.
Which I couldn't imagine.
I like.
I couldn't imagine revealing who he was. It wouldn't have mattered because it wouldn't have meant anything because there was no characters left in the movie. Everybody that we knew died.
That's true.
Including the primary suspect. He died. So there was like nobody else to twist and reveal. But that is kind of. I'm going back and forth on whether I like that it was so. It was very strangers, right? Where at the end it's like who did it? You don't find out, and it wouldn't matter if you did because it's just some people who decided to do this. This definitely had that element to it, which I guess grounds it. I guess the end is just so abrupt that I didn't really feel much during it. I was like, well, because there's not even much of a struggle or a chase. It's like Allison Brie's character goes down. Dan Stevens checks on her, immediately down.
Yeah.
It's just like line them up, knock them down all within like 10 minutes. And even the last character I do like that somebody dies flying off the cliff because it feels like poetic justice, for dumping my man Tay off the cliff.
They kept talking about it. They were like, maybe he fell off the cliff. Maybe we threw him off the cliff.
Yeah.
Make sure the dog doesn't go off the cliff. Talking about this cliff, and then at the end, it's like, oh, someone flies off the cliff.
It felt like the right way, So here's something. Maybe the murderer knew them and knew how bad they were, and he's a good guy. Just making things up. Oh no, he's a good guy. I didn't read that part until I put it up on the screen.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if he's a good guy.
He's a good guy.
Based on the ending where he moves on to another like Airbnb type thing, I don't think he knew these people. I think he just finds these rentals, rents them out.
He doesn't care who it is.
Yeah.
Maybe he's a Dexter-esque character though, and he knows where you're going to go before you do.
He's a chess player.
So he's setting a trap.
I think,
or maybe it's their cousins.
I think the drama between those four characters was happenstance. I think they just happened to have this drama, like while a serial killer was stalking them.
Yeah, for sure. There were everything that they were experiencing was completely inconsequential to what his plan was. Like, there could have been 4 great people. Didn't matter.
Based on what was happening in the credits, where it was just this normal family, but that wouldn't be engaging at all.
I thought it was so weird that he like used Taylor's truck to clean up. Like, I thought that was, for some reason, I thought that was strange and important for some reason.
Well, I assume because I just knowing how Airbnb works, if people start getting murdered at Airbnbs like repeatedly, it'd be pretty easy to get the guy's name, credit card information, and like track him down. So I assume the idea is that he's trying to make it seem like Taylor did this. Yeah. So no one looks into the Airbnb side of what's going on and just thinks it's this weirdo who killed people.
Yeah, that's why he put the hammer back into the toolbox, is because he was trying to frame someone that was already dead.
Yeah.
Point. He's got a strong side hustle. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
Taylor, how did you feel about Taylor's death? Like his actual death?
I liked the off-screen black gloves. It was a very like giallo, like Dario Argento thing of like mysterious man in the shadows with black gloves is killing people. You don't see his face. Like I loved all that stuff. Once you cut to Taylor knocked out in the tub and the black hands come in and smother him. That's when I was like, hey, what's going on here?
Because I didn't think that it was actually Taylor doing it. Because I told my Taylor, I told him, I was like, I think it's his brother, because he mentioned that it was his brother.
That's what I'm saying. I thought the guy was his brother in that he was like deformed and was like cut off from society, and he was.
And then I was like, wait, he wouldn't kill his own brother. What is happening?
Although brothers suck in this universe, it seems like you can have a brother and be a total dick to him. You can.
I don't think that would happen. I don't know. But I mean, his reaction to seeing the camera in the shower seemed pretty genuine. So I don't know.
That's what I mean. That was really well done. When he says that, I was like, oh shit, he really doesn't know. Like there's something else afoot here. I was like, this is really. So I mean, I had a really good twist. It just took 55 minutes to get to it. Whereas if it happened at like minute 25,
I love Hereditary, which took it's a 2.5 hour movie, give or take, and it took very long to actually get to.
Never saw it.
To that shift in tone. It's a family drama up to a certain point, and then gets batshit crazy. Same with Midsommar.
Love that movie.
I will say that Ari Aster finds that balance a lot better than Dave Franco does, but Dave Franco's on the right track. This is a very good first directorial debut, especially for horror. I think it was fine. I was glued to it. I wasn't bored with it. I was very involved in the character drama, and then I was very involved in the shift in tone. So maybe he's on the right track. Maybe his second feature will be a lot better. Either way, I think this is a very good first step into horror.
Yeah,
I would agree with that for sure. If you say, hey, I made a movie for the first time and this is what you have, I'd be like, oh, keep going. Keep making movies. You figured it out. So I think maybe with a stronger script, maybe if he partners with another writer or maybe just adapts.
What about Jordan Peele and Dave Franco present?
The Dream Team.
Yeah, the one we've been waiting for.
Have we been? Is it?
I'm in. Whatever. Give me a Western horror film with those two directing. I'm in. Right.
Oh, what if they starred in it too?
Yeah. Oh, even better.
2 gunslingers.
Yeah, I'm waiting. I'm waiting for the Jordan Peele feature that he puts himself in. I would love to see that.
I'm sure he's never done that. Yeah,
he's done like this comedy horror in Key and Peele, and he's put himself in it. I think he should pull an M. Night and throw himself in there for just like a cameo or something.
I don't think Adam liked the phrase "pull an M. Night."
No, I think never go full M. Night.
On an upward trajectory, I loved The Visit. I loved Glass. I loved Unbreakable.
I haven't seen Glass yet, but I do like Split and Unbreakable.
Split is what I meant. Unbreakable is great, but I think his last few features have been great. The Servant's good on Apple TV.
I just feel like there's a certain like I'm definitely a believer that genius isn't a one person thing. Genius is never a one person thing. Genius comes from multiple minds. Yeah, it comes from collaboration, and I don't think there is a good movie that a person has written themselves as the main character. I think so much of like a real believable, complex, full-bodied character comes from someone else's interpretation of a well-written character.
I think if Dave Franco did something and Blumhouse picked it up and Jason Blum did it, I think that could be a great horror film.
Yeah, I'd agree. And I'll be interested to see if whatever he does next, because again, like I said, this is enough that I would hope he does something else. I'll be interested to see if he keeps playing within genre movies or if he's going to do something that's a lot different from this.
Well, he's doing a elevated romantic comedy with his wife, Allison Brie.
Oh, and isn't he also, didn't we just discuss this on Real Talk? He's playing Vanilla Ice.
Yes, he is.
Now we're talking.
Well, that's right. He is married to Allison Brie.
Yeah, it's true. And yeah, he directed.
That's why she's in the movie.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Great.
Wow.
So Connor, that means you're extremely jealous, right?
No,
He's engaged.
it's a beautiful couple. And
To Allison Brie.
I was about to say, this is a long-running joke because Connor used to like be in love with Allison Brie, like totally in love.
it's true. And then I met my Allison Brie.
Yes. I just had to give you a hard time.
I don't think calling her your Allison Brie is the right move.
I'm with that on this one.
That's another person.
You're second place.
Yeah.
I found my second option.
I'm just saying, that
Congrats.
in my bedroom over there is what we like.
Oh, you're bragging.
Yeah, I'm bragging.
Humble brag.
It's a humble
Weird.
brag.
Nice flex.
I put a ring on it.
But yeah, and Jessica, to bring something up interesting over here, I guess The Rental is the second film ever to be simultaneously #1 at the theatrical box office and the demand charts at the same time, a symptom of the unique world we're living in right now. And I believe this made something like $400.
Yeah, $404,000 in theaters.
Okay,
I think being the one person that hasn't seen it,
yeah.
Hearing you guys talk about it makes me absolutely not want to see this film. I would.
Good.
There's no way I would watch it. Like if my wife was like, "Hey, have you heard anything about this?" I'd be like, "Yes, I have heard a thing or two about it." She's like, "You want to watch it?" I'd be like, "No."
No.
Just put on.
It was pretty split.
Just put on Princess and the Frog or something.
On
We watched it today.
really liking it or really
I'm a prophet.
liking it. But I think this is the first time where one of us really liked it and a couple of us did not like it.
Yeah.
It sounds like absolutely not a me film. Not at all.
It's a
Should we go around and put it on the scale?
Yeah.
How many on a scale of 1 to 5, how many little puppies would you give it?
English bulldogs,
Little dogs. How many little dogs would you?
French bulldogs.
How many little French bulldogs would you give?
I would give it 3.
3?
French bulldogs.
3 little Frenchies?
3 little Frenchies.
How many Frenchies are you clocking it in at, Matt?
1 and like a half of a half.
Wow.
That's a
half
quarter.
Frenchie.
Quarter. 1 1/4 Frenchies.
1
hate-
and a half.
You hate
Quarter.
to see a fraction of a
No,
French.
because see, people think quarters are nice because they're the most expensive coin we have. So I want them to know that it's actually just half of half. It's like not worth the 1.5.
Giving him the double check. You just want to cut him twice.
Yes.
You just want that Frenchie to suffer.
Like if you were hanging out
Dang.
on a Tinder date and you were like, "What movie can I put on that like halfway into I can make my move?"
Cowboys and Aliens is the answer to that.
You can
It works every time. Works every time.
How many Frenchies would you give it, Jessica?
I would give it 2.5 scary, deformed face masks.
Oh, okay.
I'm not doing I'm not cutting a bulldog, Frenchie in half.
Can it be two Frenchies and half of a scary mask? Like
Yes, we'll do that.
Phantom of the Opera Frenchies. This half.
I would give it. I'll agree with Connor. I liked it, didn't love it, and thus I would give it 3 healthy, fully formed little Frenchies who have not been hurt in any way.
The most unreal.
really thick
Frenchies have been hurt in this review.
just happy to be alive and quite chubby and hard of breathing.
I was kind of excited by the notion that he was maybe just going to steal that little dog and go home and like hang out with him now.
I know, and then he just left the French bulldog, and I was like, pick him up and take him. Be a nice guy.
Yeah,
That's what I mean. I thought we were getting a hero story. Like he picks up the dog, and we realize he's now the hero.
I'm sorry.
We get Rental 2, where he's killing more bad people.
John Wick.
Like, yeah, him.
This is a John Wick prequel. It sounds like this is
could
how he
be.
gets the dog.
You're right, and he acted like John Wick, spot on.
I love John Wick.
love John Wick.
Love
I
John Wick.
You too.
Like,
Okay.
and I think that concludes our rental review.